Heavenly Father, we come to you today with humble hearts, seeking your guidance and wisdom as we begin this program. Lord, we ask that you would bless every person who has gathered here today, and that you would be present with us in a special way. We pray that this program would be a time of learning, growth, and fellowship for all of us. Help us to listen to one another with open hearts and open minds, and to support one another as we strive to serve you in all that we do. Please give us the strength and the courage to follow your will and to use the gifts and talents you have given us to make a positive difference in the world. We pray all of this in your holy name. Amen.
Good evening everyone. Magandang gabi po sa lahat ng ating mga participants na nandito ngayon sa ating Zoom conference, and at the same time pati na rin yung mga individuals na nagpa-participate through our Facebook live streaming. So kung saan man kayo ngayon nagpa-participate, a pleasant evening to everyone. So, another day, another opportunity for us to learn, to another set of discussion under sa ating category na education. Tonight, this will be the seventh, no? Ika-7 or ikapito na webinar series under sa aming education-related na category. Mamaya, I am going to have a recap, no, sa mga previously conducted natin na education-related webinars, kasi baka you are also interested to watch and learn from the recorded sessions. So again, magandang gabi sa ating lahat and welcome to our webinar on learners' rights and child protection. So bago tayo enumerate or mag-recap ng mga previously conducted webinars natin under sa category na education, please be reminded and be responsible of the following basic and common house rules kapag nagjo-join tayo ng mga learning activities, especially kapag online. Hindi na ito bago sa iilan sa inyo kasi for sure you already participated na rin sa mga other na mga webinars, kaya kung ano man yung house rules na meron sila, i-observe din natin yan dito. First is yung pinaka-importante talaga sa lahat, no? To make your microphone on mute at all times. Kasi hindi lang magkakaroon ng distraction or ng disruption sa ating mentor or sa resource person, kundi magugulat din kami, 'di ba? Kapag biglang may magsasalita sa background, and at the same time baka maririnig namin yung pinag-uusapan ninyo. So you need to be vigilant and make sure na naka-mute kayo palagi. Unless you want to say something, pwede rin yun. We are allowing it sa aming mga learning activities. Meaning to say, kapag nag-share si mentor, nagde-discuss, nag-explain siya, or nag-share siya ng experiences niya, or nagbibigay siya ng examples, and you want to share as well, no? Pwedeng-pwede yun. Kasi we are really encouraging our participants na mag-engage sa aming session. Siyempre, virtual kasi tayo, no? So, kailangan talagang magkaroon ng connection tayo sa isa't isa para naman mas maging engaging nga yung session natin. So, if you want to say something, we will allow you to unmute yourself and make use of your of your microphone. Except yung mga nasa Facebook Live, no? Kasi wala naman silang chance na pwedeng magsalita. Pero you can also say something, no, from the discussion being shared by utilizing the comment section, no? Tapos kami na lang ang magre-relay kay mentor kung ano yung ilalagay nyo sa comment section. Use the chat responsibly. Iilan lang naman tayo tonight, no, for this learning session. Kaya if the mentor is asking a question from the participants, we are really hoping na you will participate by using the chat box, no? If that's a question, tapos it requires an answer from the participant. So hopefully magagamit ninyo ng maayos yung chat box na yan or maybe an emoji, no? It depends sa ating mentor kung paano niya i-utilize yung engagement natin for tonight. Respect the speaker and participants. So as I mentioned, if you want to say something, you need to raise your hand first. Meron naman tayong emoji, 'di ba, na pwedeng magamit na mag-raise ka ng hand tapos i-acknowledge namin kayo sa mag-unmute para hindi magkaroon ng interruption. Stay present and engage, no? So, the maximum time every webinar na meron kami, 2 hours lang naman yan. So, maximum na yung 8:00 ng gabi. Pwedeng mas earlier pa tayong matapos. That's why we are really hoping na you will stay, especially na meron din tayong attendance mamaya, and engage nga sa ating session. And keep your camera on if possible lang naman. If you are comfortable, then you can actually turn on your camera. Okay, so before tayo mag-proceed with our 107, the discussion, na i-mention ko kanina na this is already the 7th series under sa aming education na category. At eto, nasa screen, nakikita nating lahat, yung 6 na previously conducted webinars natin. So we started with the first webinar, which is all about classroom management. It was followed by a discussion about empowering educators through the use of artificial intelligence. Yung ating third series, another empowerment discussion, no? And this focuses on empowering the teachers with effective time management. Yung ating fourth series is all about social and emotional learning in education. The fifth series is all about educational leadership or leadership in education. At yung pinaka bago lang natapos last month, the 106 was all about inclusive education practices for diverse learners. If you want to, If you want to watch, kasi meron siyang mga recorded na mga sessions na pwede nyo mapanood through our YouTube channel, pwede ninyong panoorin at makinig sa discussion na ibinigay ni mentor sa mga webinars na yan. So pwede ninyong ma-access or makita, no, yung ating mga previously conducted webinars through our YouTube channel. So hanapin nyo lang sa YouTube, no, yung channel name namin, which is actually the same. The same with our page name, Scale Up Training and Development. So kapag nakita or nahanap na ninyo yan sa sa YouTube, ayun, pwede na ninyong i-filter. Meron namang search box, 'di ba? Merong search box si YouTube. Tapos pwede ninyong gamitin yung search box, mag-type na lang kayo doon ng specific topic. Pwedeng i-type niyo yung salitang education para ma-filter siya. Or meron din namang anong tawag dyan, playlist. So, na-related sa education. Kaya pwede ninyong puntahan yung video playlist and then nandoon na lahat. No? Etong 6 series na ito or webinars na ito. And if in case you need a certificate, baka lang interested kayo to get a certificate after watching, nakikita nyo naman yung link na nasa screen. So yan yung link na kailangan ninyong bisitahin para makapag-request kayo ng certificate. For tonight, we are going to cover the 107, no? So bagong ano naman siya, discussion. And this will focus on learners' rights and child protection. Sa ating webinar ngayong gabi, this will be our guide question. No? So, yung insights, yung independent insights, personal experiences, and of course, yung mga proven facts na i-share ng ating mentor or ng ating resource person for tonight will answer this guide question. This is also the webinar subtitle. It goes like this: How to promote safe, respectful, and rights-based learning environments for every learner. So, kailangan kasi talaga na yung mga students, no, elementary, mapa-high school, or even like college, di ba? Kahit sino na nasa isang learning environment, kailangan talagang ma-maintain natin na always safe ang environment na yon at na-observe talaga ang ethical principle na respect sa bawat isa. So that's why para masagot natin ang guide question na ito, I am now going to introduce to you our mentor for tonight para sa ating webinar on learners' rights and child protection. She is an empowerment advocate and an educator, a licensed professional teacher, currently a teacher too sa Tupi National High School in South Cotabato. So, participants, please help me welcome our mentor for tonight. We have Mentor Faith. Hello, Mentor. Good evening.
Hello, Miss Pipe. Hello, everyone.
Ayan.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Good evening, good evening. Sige, I will now end my share screen and you can now start whenever you are ready. So good
Thank
luck,
you.
everyone.
Mhm. Ayan. Nakikita na po ba yung aking screen? Okay na po ba?
Yes, Mentor.
Okay.
Nakikita na po. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. So, kumusta po kayo? Kumusta po yung mga participants natin ngayong araw? Um, sa amin kasi, since last week, we've had this, ano, earthquake, June 8, no? Medyo malakas dito sa amin. And then, kani-kanina lang din, mga around 4 p.m. Meron na naman konting jolt na naman. I think it's an aftershock. So, since bumalik na kami sa school, since nung Monday, parang mga 7 days din na tawag dyan, suspended yung klase. So, kanina, yung parang first day na namin. So, kanina kami nag-first day, first flag ceremony na totoo na talaga na natapos talaga namin. So, yan. Medyo may mga kaba pa sa aming mga puso dahil sa nangyaring lindol dito sa amin sa South Cotabato. So, ayan. Pwede po bang malaman kung saan po galing yung location po ng ating mga participants ngayong araw? Pakilagay na lang po sa ating chat box kung saang lugar po kayo galing para aware tayo kung ano yung hanggang saan ang naaabot ng ating webinar ngayong araw. So habang nagta-type po kayo, yun nga, sabi ni Miss Pipe, tonight we will discuss the learner's right and child protection. So I know that we are all aware about the learner's rights and child protection, lalo na sa atin na nasa field ng education. However, in this webinar, we'll be discussing later on mga common types of cases wherein nagkakaroon ng issue about learners' right and child protection. We will discuss those cases later on, yung mga common lang talaga. And then we will try um, to check kung ano ba yung mga dapat nating gagawin nakaka, kapag nakaka-encounter tayo ng mga ganong klaseng mga issue. So, yun nga, this webinar is good for 2 hours. So, I hope that you will join me in the next 2 hours of our webinar. Ayan. So, pwede po bang malaman kung saan yung ating mga, taga saan yung ating mga participants ngayong araw? Kasi yung iba, parang ngayon lang ata sila na nandito. Hindi ako masyadong familiar sa kanilang mga names. Okay, meron po tayong from Region 1. Wow, from Pangasinan. Region 1. Ayan. So, meron din tayong from Bicol. Ayan. So, Iligan City. Hello sa Iligan City. Saan pa? So, mga latest na mga learners' rights, mga issues natin ngayon, yung about doon sa nangyari nga sa Ateneo de Manila University, yung basketball player na si Rene Batarbonia from Agusan del Sur. So, meron din tayong from Negros. Wow. So, well represented naman ang three islands ng Philippines ito sa ating webinar series. So, now moving on, ano yung mga, wait lang. Yeah, so in the next 2 hours, we will discuss about the learner's right and the right-based education. Paano natin yun gagawin? And then, of course, how are we going to base this type of topic in our PPST, lalo na sa atin na mga nasa public school, ng mga public schools. Ito yung Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. Kahit nasa private schools, dapat aware tayo dito kung paano natin i-align yung mga rights ng ating mga learners. So, paano natin siya ma-align sa pagiging professional teachers natin. And also, we will also discuss the different legal bases about the learners' rights and their protection. And the child protection policy, paano tayo magkakaroon ng positive na discipline among our learners. And then later on, we will have a little of 5 minutes break after that one. And then after ng ating break, meron tayong mga series of case clinics na we will try to check kung ano yung mga pwede nating gagawin bilang mga professional teachers kapag nasa isa tayong sitwasyon na kung saan ay medyo nagkakaroon na ng issue yung mga rights ng ating mga learners. And of course, I will help you create an action plan, a commitment form also, so that we can apply those action plans in our school and in our class as well. Yan. So, ito yung mga learning outcomes natin later on. We can be able to explain the learner's right. Ko-connect natin yung daily classroom na mga nangyayari, and then the decision of the school, kung paano ba nagagampanan ng school yung pag-protect sa rights ng ating mga learners. Second, we can be able to identify protection concerns. So, ma-recognize natin mamaya yung mga red flags and the different forms of harm na akala natin normal lang, but then isa na pala yun sa mga red flags na pwede pala makakos ng damage. It's either mentally, psychologically, or physically sa ating mga learners. And we will also, how we are going as teachers, how we are going to respond into the different issues. So, ang gagamitin natin mamaya, we will be using, we will listen, record, report, refer, and how we are going to finally protect the rights of our learners. And fourth naman, yung sabi ko na kanina na how are we going to align it in the PPST? So, paano natin ma-link safe? Paano tayo makakagawa ng ating mga MOVs na kung saan ay nagpapakita na we practice the learner's right and protection sa ating mga bata. Ayan. But then, bago po tayo magsisimula talaga sa topic, I would like to remind everyone na meron po tayo ditong safeguarding norms sa ating webinar kasi medyo um, crucial yung topic about learners' right and safety. So we will have the confidentiality, respectful dialogue, and duty to report. So, confidentiality, mamaya kapag mag-share po tayo ng ating mga experience, avoid dropping names, avoid dropping photos, address, or name of the school that are identifiable sa mga cases, no? Kasi maybe mamaya maki-carried away tayo minsan sa mga situations, but we should avoid doing things like this kasi for confidentiality purpose. Lalo na kapag wala pang court orders or yung decisions na galing sa taas. Next naman, respectful dialogue. So, we will be discussing systems and behaviors at hindi lang yung mga yung mga gossips, no, blaming or public judgment yung i-discuss natin. Let's create um, a forum wherein makagkakaroon an educational forum wherein we can be able to discuss the behaviors. Hindi lang yung tungkol doon sa tao, kundi we need to see the overall impact and the overall aspect of a situation. And of course, the third is, ito yung main reason talaga kung bakit kailangan nating malaman yung learner's right and learner's protection. Kasi if you come to realize that there are some concerns or issues na feeling ninyo parang big issue na siya. So ano yung gagawin natin as a teacher? So paano natin siya i-report sa school or i-report sa division office if medyo um, malaki na yung medyo malaking issue na siya. So yan. So sino ang nakakakilala sa mga taong nandito sa picture? Yan, na naka-flash sa ating screen. This is quite number one ito na series sa Netflix ngayon since last week ata. So, can you please type in our chat box kung familiar kayo dito sa mga taong ito na nasa ating screen? Are you familiar? Alam niyo ba ang title ng series na ito? Kakatapos na manood, yes. Teach you a lesson. Parang teach you a lesson, yes. Opo, yo. So, teach you a lesson. It is a Korean series wherein parang nag-build ng isang bureau for bullying yung parang Ministry of Education sa Korea. So, sila yung na-assign sa mga schools na kung saan hindi nagkakaroon ng proper na parang hindi na-actionan yung bullying na issue sa kanilang school. Yan, di ba? So, we are hoping na sana meron din ganito dito sa Philippines. However, it's just some kind of a parang ano lang naman ito. Hindi naman siya talaga totoo. Parang hindi naman talaga nangyari yung ganitong uri ng bureau doon sa South Korea. But who knows, maybe 'di ba, magkakaroon ng idea yung mga people o yung mga nasa taas na possible na mayroong ganitong bureau din para na lamang din sa safety ng mga learners and safety rin ng mga teachers. So, yun. Bakit ko siya nilagay dito? Siyempre because we are talking about learners' rights and protection, no? The child protection policy here. So, medyo align siya. Parang gusto ko lang siya ilagay kasi nga medyo trending itong movie na ito ngayon. So, Si, hindi ko sure kung ma'am or sir. Sir Jan ba or ma'am Jan? Ano ba yan? Kakatapos lang niya manood. So, yung iba na hindi pa nakapanood nito, I suggest you watch this one kasi marami kayong matutunan. Hindi lang siya about sa ano, hindi lang siya yung mga normal na mga stories, kundi tayo bilang mga nasa education sector ay makaka-relate talaga sa mga scenes na nandito sa series na ito. So, tayo na nandito ngayon sa webinar na ito, um, we are trying to learn the different ways on how we're going to interact or how we're going to protect our learners para hindi mapunta sa point na hindi na natin kayang i-manage yung bullying or yung problem ng ating paaralan. So, yan. Ano yung mga legal basis ng learner's right dito sa Pilipinas? But before that one, meron tayong dalawang main character sa learner's right dito sa Philippines. Una, of course, the learners. So, si learner, sila yung merong karapatan. Sila yung bida sa kwentong ito na learners, rights, and protection. Sila yung bida, sila yung nagpa-participate, sila yung kailangan na i-express yung kanilang views, sila yung mayroong karapatan na kailangan nating i-safeguard, and sila yung mga characters na kung saan kailangan nating i-develop holistically. Kung kailangan nating i-correct, we need to correct it in a proper way. And then, the second character naman dito sa ating istorya ngayong gabi, ito namang si teacher or the school. So, syempre si teacher, siya ang representative ng school. Ang teacher ang merong duty. Meron tayong responsibilidad. So, tayo bilang teachers, we need to respect, we need to protect, we need to fulfill our duty as the guardian of our learners inside the school premise, and we need to promote learners' rights in every decision. So, hindi lamang tayo basta-basta magde-decide para sa ating mga learners, but we need to follow um, certain protocols para naman ma-achieve natin yung holistic na development para sa ating mga learners. So, ano yung duties ng mga teachers? So, we have 4 duties as teachers or as the school. Una, we have the duty to respect. So, we do not want to violate the rights of our learners through our words, our rules, through our practices, or our discipline. Dapat, kapag gagawa po tayo ng rules, it should be a fair naman na yung mga learners natin is nag-agree or yung mga guardian or the parents agree with those certain rules, practices, or disciplines. Second, P for protect, wherein we need to prevent and respond some harm from peers, adults, online spaces, and of course, mga systems na nag-create na ngayon. So we need to prevent being harmed. And F fulfill. So we need to provide supports that enable participation, that will enable learning to come through, that will also protect the well-being of our learners and give them the access to right and proper education. And last, yung tinatawag natin na promote. So we need to teach rights. We need to teach or bring empathy, or we need to put empathy to our learners. We need to be responsible enough as we act in the different learners' right and protection policies. We also need to participate in the school premise, and also when worst comes to worst, so yung mga third party na mga organizations. And we need to properly report the different scenarios or the different ano ba, the different cases that might happen. So yun yung mga duties natin bilang nasa school tayo or bilang mga teachers. So paano naman natin matatranslate yung mga rights ng ating learners into school practices? Una, we need to have a safety. Ano yung safety na tinatawag? Dapat clear yung mga routines, meron tayong safe spaces, and then responsive na mga supervision. Kaya nga, yung ating mga paaralan, meron tayong CPC or yung Child Protection Council or committee. Sila yung parang under sa kanila yung ating guidance counselor, the prefect of discipline, na kung saan ay nagbibigay ng mga clear na mga routines and then safe spaces and direct supervision doon sa ating mga learners. Second naman is yung tinatawag natin na access. So, inclusive enrollment, attendance monitoring, and then also the resources, no? Yan yung access. Third, we have the participation. So we need to hear the learner's voice, the classroom agreements, and then also the student leadership. Fourth is the quality learning. So, dito na lumalabas yung mga teaching and learning practices, relevant na mga instruction, fair na assessment, and also proper feedbacking of the learner's um, attitude or assessment or also, and dignity. Of course, we need our learners are or have also the right, so they are also subject for privacy, and then we need to feedback in a respectful language, in a respectful manner, and we should not also show discrimination for our learners. The sixth naman is the well-being. So it talks about the mental health referral, peer support, and then protection from any type of harm. So yun yung mga school practices na ginagawa or maaari nating gagawin sa ating mga paaralan. So yun yung anim na yun. And I know that some of us already have these different types of practices. Now, what are the legal basis naman that anchors for teacher related to child rights and protection? Una, we have the 1987 Constitution. So ito naman, it has a special protection from neglect, abuse, cruelty, exploitation, and also harmful conditions. Yan talaga yung parang mother of all legal policy dito sa Philippines, nasa 1987 Constitution. Second naman, we have the Republic Act 7610. So ito yung special protection against abuse, sa exploitation, discrimination, and best interest for the child. And we also have the DepEd Order 31 series of 2022, which entitled Rights-Based Education Framework and Philippine Basic Education. So dito na nagsimula, or ito na yung isa sa mga right-based na mga education framework na ginagamit ng Department of Education. And we also have the DepEd Order 40 series of 2012. It is about the child protection policy, zero tolerance for abuse, violence, discrimination, and bullying. We also have the Republic Act 1062-7, which is the Anti-Bullying Act and the school-based prevention and intervention duties. So, naka-Republic Act po talaga yan. And latest natin ngayon na DepEd order for learners' right protection is the DepEd Order 6 series of 2026, which is all about the learners' right and protection. So it is a supplemental guidelines or guidance for online safety, referral system, LRP office, and then interventions. Dito na rin nakalagay yung latest ngayon na release ng Department of Education wherein hindi pwedeng gumamit ng mga cellphones yung ating mga learners during instructional time. So, dyan po yan sa DepEd Order 6 series of 2026. Now, the second part is how are we going to align all of those LRP or Learners' Right and Protection policies into our PPST? Ano yung gagawin natin para maipakita natin na aligned pala siya sa ating PPST or the Philippine Professional Standard for Teachers para magkaroon tayo ng magandang evidence na nagpo-promote tayo ng safe at saka inclusive learning environment. So, ito yung pwede nating ilagay sa ating mga portfolio. Now, ano yung purpose ng PPST? So, dito kasi meron siyang mga clear na expectation across career stages, yan yung nandoon sa ating PPST. And also, meron mga guides sa learning and development of the appraisal, selection, and the promotion. Yan po yung nandoon sa PPST natin. And nandoon din yung ating child protection is a quality teaching because safe environments enable teaching, di ba? Tayo, we need to have a room or an environment conducive for learning. So part of that is to establish a safety environment that can promote learning to happen. So, as teachers, we need to show a thorough practice or to show practice through prevention, response, documentation, and referral. Kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung mga mangyayari. Dapat marunong tayong maglagay ng mga proper na documents and referral system in case na something will happen inside the classroom during the teaching and learning activity. And ano yung ilalagay naman natin? Example, meron nangyari. Ano yung ilalagay natin ng mga MOV? So, later, I will teach you kung ano yung mga iba't ibang mga MOVs na pwede nating ilagay. So, we will translate learning into an observable practice kasi nasa NCOI, non-classroom indicator kasi ito eh. Ano yung mga ethical na mga MOVs na pwede nating ilagay? Ano yung mga reflection notes na ilalagay natin? And also, we need to create a referral map. So, mamaya, I will teach you how to do it. And ito yung mga domains, no, PPSC domains na connected dito sa learners' right and protection. Una-una, of course, the learning environment, which is the domain 2. We need to create a safe, secure, supportive, and fair na learning-focused classroom and also na nagpo-promote din ng positive na discipline. Ikalawa, we also have the domain 3 wherein merong mga diverse of learners. And then, paano natin sila madedevelop in an appropriate, inclusive, culture-sensitive, and gender-responsive support. And domain 6, yung community linkages. Kailan natin pwedeng ipapatawag yung school personnel? Kailan pwedeng ipapatawag yung parents or the guardians? Kailan ba kailangang ipatawag yung taga-LGU, different agencies like DSWD or PNP, and other community partners? So, dapat meron tayong um, mapping para sa mga ganong uri na ng ating ng mga activities. And the domain 7 which is the professional growth. Yung the ethics, ano yung proper na ginagawa ng isang teacher kapag nasa isang sitwasyon na related sa learners' right and protection. Ano yung mga reflections natin, professional learning na nangyayari, and then paano din masi-safeguard yung well-being ng ating teacher. Of course, that is very important. Hindi lamang yung learner yung i-safeguard natin, but also we as teachers must also be protected. So, kailangan aware tayo kung paano ba tayo ng mga teachers nag-handle ng mga iba't ibang mga scenario related to learners' rights and protection na hindi rin po tayo na hindi rin tayo magkakaroon ng problema. Now, here are some of the priority PPSC indicators for the learner's right and protection. So, ayan, makaka-establish tayo ng safe and secure na learning environment. We can maintain a supportive environment that would nurture participation, cooperation, and collaboration. So, pwede na yun siya doon sa tinatawag natin na partnership with the community. We can be able to respond to linguistic, cultural, socio-economic, and religious background, build a relationship with teachers and wider community for learners' involvement. Nandoon na po yan sa partnership. And manage learners' behavior, how to use differentiated developmentally appropriate learning experiences based on sa needs ng ating learners. How are we going to communicate to learners' needs, progress, and achievement to stakeholders, including na yung ating mga parents and guardians. So, ano ba, kapag galit ba sila na pumunta sa paaralan, magagalitin ba tayo? Ano ba yung tamang communication na pwede nating ibigay or ano sa kanila, i-welcome sa kanila? And of course, we will be use professional reflection and learning to improve our practice as a teacher and doon na rin sa school admin. Yan. So, ito yung mga possible na mga MOVs na pwede nating gagawin. Doon sa domain 2, pwede po tayong maglagay ng mga classroom child safe agreements. So, meron dyan. Example, doon sa anecdotal form, ilalagay mo yan doon. Yung agreements, no, na nag-agree din doon si learner, na nagperma siya na magbabago na siya, or kung ano man yung ano nga na-agreehan ninyo. And positive discipline plan. Gagawa tayo ng positive discipline plan na kung saan ay pwede nating ma-practice doon sa ating paaralan. Anti-bullying and digital citizenship activity. And then the safety and prevention ng mga routines. Sa domain 3 naman, yung mga possible natin na MOV or means of verification na pwede nating ilagay ay yung learner support notes. Meron din mga differentiated na mga check-in tools. So, pwede kayo mag-research kung ano yung mga tools na yon. Inclusive inclusive seating and grouping plan para sa ating mga learners. Ano ba yung inyong ginagawa ng mga seating plan? Is it based on their comfort? Is it based on alphabetical? Ganon. Or gender-based ba yung pagplano ninyo ng kanilang mga seating arrangement? And of course, culture-sensitive communication samples. Yan. Mga nagsasend kayo ng mga communication sa ating mga parents or sa ating mga guardians. And sa domain 5 naman ng mga MOV, ang pwede nating ilagay doon yung parent-guardian communication log. So, gagawa kayo, example, merong date, paano na siya na contact, ano ang cellphone number, or example, ano ang Facebook account, ano naman yung inyong remarks or anong reason bakit nyo kinontak yung parent or yung guardian, and then kailan kayo nag-follow up. So, yan yung mga communication log. And then learner progress or support referral notes. And then anonymized intervention monitoring sheet. So, pwede kayong gumawa niyan. And sa Domain 6 naman, yung mga updated na mga referral directory, CPC or LRP coordination minutes. Example, meron kayong na padala na bata for the Child Protection Committee. Ano yung minutes of the meeting doon para magkaroon kayo ng means of verification na nag-conduct talaga kayo ng na-refer ninyo yung issue ng bata or ng ating learner. Parent orientation materials. Ano yung mga ginamit ninyo ng mga materials to prove na nag-orient kayo sa mga learners or sa mga parents. And LGU agents and linkage documentation. So, yan yung mga sample lamang ng mga MOVs na pwede po ninyong ilalagay sa inyong mga portfolio. And as much as possible, we should also protect confidentiality. Pwede natin itago yung mga pangalan, i-cover natin yan. And also the pictures or yung mga mukha ng mga learners, kung pwede i-blur lang po natin kapag maglalagay tayo ng mga ganong mga pictures sa ating portfolio. So, ito yung mga possible na mga prompt sa reflection, no? Kapag gagawa na kayo, of course, you need to create some, pwede niyo pong pwede po ninyong i-screenshot itong mga prompt na ito para guided kayo kapag gagawa na kayo ng reflection in case na mayroon pong mangyari na mga issues related to child learners rights and protection. So, anong PPSC domain did I strengthen most through this webinar? So, parang reflection ito para sa kanyang webinar. So, what routine will I change to make learners safe and more heard? And how will I demonstrate positive and non-violent discipline this quarter? What evidence can I ethically keep without exposing the learner identities who are my referral partners when protection concerns arise? Kanino mo sino yung mga saan ba pwede na iakyat yung issue pa in case na hindi pa siya masettle sa iyong level? What professional learning do I still need on child protection policy? So, yan yung mga simple lamang na mga parang mga reflection or guide questions para sa ating reflection. So, ano yung mga dapat nating malaman sa child protection policy? So, dito na tayo sa pinaka-meat ng ating tawag dito ng ating webinar ngayong gabi. No, ano yung mga dapat nating malaman sa child protection policy? Of course, una, meron tayong tinatawag na zero tolerance commitment. Ano yung nandito? Policy commitment. So, protect learners from abuse, exploitation, violence, discrimination, bullying, and related na mga offenses. So, prevent our learners from any harm and we need to provide them protective remedial measures. So, ano yung mga pwede nating gagawin kapag mayroong mga ganong uri ng mga senaryo? So, yung teacher naman, a safe school is designed and hindi siya ina-assume. Tayo bilang teachers, malaki ang role natin sa paaralan upang makapag-establish tayo ng safe na learning environment. So, we need to act as an adult. We need to document the situation accurately. We need to report promptly, and we need to coordinate the different support coming from the higher authority, our guidance office, the school principal, the prefect of discipline, the CPC, if it is necessary. So, yan pong ang tinatawag natin na zero tolerance commitment. Now, ano yung mga iba't ibang uri naman ng child protection concerns? So, ayan. Ano po ba yung mga iba't ibang mga scenario na pwedeng magkakaroon, na pwedeng mayroong child protection ng mga concern? Sige, kunwari hindi nyo nakita yung pinalabas ko kanina. Ay, oh my gosh. Yan. Pwede nyo po bang mailagay dito sa ating chat box kung ano yung mga common na types of scenario related to learner's right and protection na kailangan natin ipataw ang ERPB, no? Na um, kailangan ng makihimasok, no? Ano yung mga ng learners' right and protection. What do you think are some common na mga issues concerned related to learners' right and protection? Ayan. Pwede niyo po bang malagay sa ating chat box yung mga common learners' right issues? Ayan. Kasi tingnan natin kung pare-pareho ba yung mga learners' right issues sa iba't ibang school or baka mayroong ibang school dyan na nagkaroon ng malaking or ng ibang uri ng issue. Ayan. Pwede po bang mas lagay sa ating chat box? Bullying. Yes, bullying is one of the most common na learners' right and protection na issue. It could be cyberbullying or kahit na physical bullying. Ano pa po? Isa rin sa mga yung nangyari doon sa is that Quezon, yung mayroong physical assault sa 7 grade 5 na mga bata by that grade 8 na learner. Parang last week ba or ngayong week lang? Na parang ang tawag dyan, mayroong stabbing incident sa loob ng paaralan. So, that is one, learner's right and protection. So, yung mga learners na harmed, of course, they have their right. And then also, kahit na yung bata na, yung suspect, o ano ba ang tamang term, it has also the right. Kasi, below 18 pa, minor. So, ayan. Ano pa po ba, maliban sa bullying, meron pa po bang ibang mga learners' right and protection issues na nangyayari sa inyong paaralan? I think I will need 3 para makamove on tayo sa next na slide. So, aside from bullying, ano pa yung mga common? Or yun lang talaga? Bullying lang ba talaga ang mga common or ang mga nangyayari? Kasi baka mamaya, yung akala natin na hindi siya pasok sa learner's right and protection, part pala siya ng learner's right and protection. Meron pa ba? Meron pa bang idadagdag na issues? Common learner's right issues. Meron pa po ba? Yan, meron ding discrimination. So, very rampant yung mga nangyayaring discrimination among learners these days. Dati, yung about doon sa bullying, doon, during our time, maybe 10 years, 15 years ago, bullying lang siya na nandoon lamang sa school. But then now, with the rise of the digital world, bullying also happens not inside the school, but even in the cyberspace, meron nang nangyayari yung mga bullying ngayon. So, kaya medyo malaking issue talaga din siya. So, ayan. So, dalawa lang ata. Sige, tingnan natin. So, tingnan natin. Ayan. So, meron po tayo ditong, ayun, pasok ang sabi ni ma'am na bullying at saka discrimination. Ayan. So, una, yung isa sa mga common talaga na scenario, yung physical or emotional harm. Physical, of course, kapag nasasaktan na natin yung tao with threatened no, physically, katulad nga nung example ko kanina na merong assault na nangyari doon sa isang paaralan na kung saan um, merong stabbing incident no, sa isang paaralan. So, or pwede rin na words or acts that hurt or degrade or demean or threaten the dignity of another learner. So, pwede yan ma-fall dito. No? Minsan, yung mga choice of words ng ating mga learners are parang masasabi mo na parang hindi siya angkop doon sa kanilang edad, no? They are using vulgar words already now na parang kahit na tayo, hindi natin kayang sabihin nung mga time na ganun pa yung mga edad natin. Next naman na child protection concern or learner's right issue na common sa mga nangyayari sa ating paaralan is yung neglect or yung failure to meet the basic needs or immediate care when needed. So, ano ang mga possible na example dito? Example, neglect of duty ng isang estudyante na makapagpasok sa paaralan or basically yung tinatawag natin na absenteeism. So kapag palagi ng absent yung bata, it is already a child protection concern. Kasi we need to, as learner or as teachers, we need to create an intervention kung paano natin matutulungan yung bata sa kanyang frequent na mga absences na na kung saan ay nakakaapekto na rin sa performance niya sa paaralan. The third, yung sabi ko nga kanina, the bullying. So it is the repeated or the severe harm, fear, exclusion, hindi siya pinapasali ng mga kalaro niya or hindi siya pinapasali ng mga kagrupo niya, power imbalance or yung commonly tinatawag na power tripping, parang ganon. Paulit-ulit na lamang na nagkokos ng harm sa isang learner wherein minsan nagkokos na rin ng fear sa isang bata and maybe sometimes it leads to frequent absenteeism. So yan. And fourth, we have the discrimination. So ito naman yung unfair treatment based on identity, status ng isang bata, disability, culture, or just a little bit of circumstance. No, parang nadi-discriminate, no? Hindi siya ina-involve. Parang excluded siya doon um, sa mga common na activities ng mga learners. Exploitation, ito. Using a child situation, labor, child labor, image, or vulnerability for another's advantage. No? Parang yung learner natin ay nai-exploit na ginagamit siya ng ibang mga grupo or ibang tao or ng ibang bata. So, yan. Na kung saan hindi na siya, that is also harmful for the child's life. And itong ika-anim, online harm. So, technology, facilitated abuse, unsafe contact, merong coercion na nangyayari, pinipilit yung bata, yung learner, or harmful sharing of private documents, image, or even video. So, this is very common. No, ngayon sa mga bata, very common na ito. So, merong mga instances na nangyayari talaga yung online harm or the digital harm. Minsan, meron tayong mga learners na sa sobrang confident nila sa kanilang mga kaklase and then comfortable sila masyado na makasama yung mga kaklase na yun, hindi sila aware na sometimes merong mga friends na nagnanakaw ng mga files ng mga learners. So, yun. Dapat maging aware tayo dito sa mga ganitong uri ng mga harmful activities ng ating learners. Yan. So, online safety as part of child protection. So, ano yung mga ginagawa ng mga learners natin or ng mga ano yung pwede nating gagawin para ma-keep safe yung ating mga learners in the online world. So, una, ito yung mga risk spaces, yung mga possible na mga environment na kung saan at risk yung privacy ng ating learners, yung mga classroom group chats, the social media pages, gaming chats, no? Diba? Ano ba yung gaming chats na uso sa mga bata ngayon? Roblox, diba? Parang nag-chat sila dyan. Shared devices. Yan. Learning platform. So, yan yung mga common na mga spaces na kung saan akala ng mga learners natin is or they don't know that it could create a harmful space. Hindi sila aware na pwede palang magkaroon or pwede pala na ma anong tawag dito? Ma-violate yung kanilang privacy dyan sa mga spaces na yan. So, ano yung gagawin natin bilang mga teachers? So, we need to set a digital behavior norms. Ano yung mga protocols natin kapag nasa digital world tayo? Ano yung pwedeng gagawin ng mga learners? Preserve evidence without resharing. Example, meron tayong nalaman na ginawa ng mga learner or ng isang learner, we need to preserve that evidence. Ano ba ang tamang pag-preserve ng evidence? Tama na ba yung screenshot? Or if pwede, makuha natin yung file. And we should avoid resharing it to individuals na hindi naman makakatulong sa sitwasyon ng ating mga kabataan. Report through proper channels. This is very important. Kapag mayroon na kayong evidence na nakuha, wag po nating itago na yan na sa atin-atin lang. We need to report that to our guidance office, prefect of discipline, and kapag wala pa rin doon, and also we need to report that one to our school principal because that's the right thing to do. Hindi pwede na sa atin mag-end yung kapag medyo crucial na ng mga scenarios. And protect privacy and dignity. Kahit na merong nagawa yung mga learners natin, whether sila yung biktima or sila yung mga nakapanakit, naka-violate ng or ng rights ng ibang learners, we need to protect the privacy and dignity of both parties. Hindi natin pwedeng ipagkalat yung nangyari kasi nga mayroon pong karapatan yung ating mga learners. Again, we have this learner's right and protection. And then yung mga anak po natin, yung mga batang yan po, mayroon pong mga karapatan. And ano naman yung gagawin ng paaralan? As the school should create a CPC referral flow. Ano yung referral flow? Ano yung mga iba't ibang mga senaryo na dapat gaano ba kalaki or ano ba ang dapat na sitwasyon para ipapatawag yung CPC, dadalhin sa school principal yung issue, yung ganon. Kailan ipapatawag ang DSWD, kailan ipapatawag ang PNP. And of course, it is important that the parent and the guardian must also be, the attention of the parent and the guardian must be called. Kasi sila ang dapat nakakaalam sa sitwasyon ng kanilang learners, ng kanilang mga anak, at kung ano yung ginawa ng mga bata. Yan. And next naman is ICT and guidance coordination, lalo na, yun nga, kasi online safety yung pinag-uusapan natin. Aware yung ICT, we need to seek for the help of our ICT persons para sa data gathering and then para sa pag-preserve din ng evidence. And if ever na kailangan pa rin, kailan natin tatawagan or kailan tayo hihingi na ng tulong from the LGU, from DSWD, from PNP or other referral agency. So yan yung dapat na ginagawa ng isang paaralan. Meron talagang school system. So, yun. Dahil alam na natin yung mga iba't ibang mga uri ng mga learners, right issues, yung mga ano yung mga gagawin natin bilang mga teacher, ano yung gagawin ng isang paaralan. Now, we will move on into how we're going to respond to the different concerns if ever na mayroong mangyari na scenario. So, ayan. Una-una, ito yung tinatawag. Example po, kayo po, ano po yung ginagawa ninyo? Ano yung practice ninyo sa inyong paaralan kung sakali na mayroong learners' right issue na nangyari? Pwede po ba kayong magbigay ng mga common na scenario na ginagawa ninyo? Paano kayo nagre-respond sa ganung uri ng mga scenario? Example, merong bullying scenario sa school. what are you going to do as a classroom teacher? Example, nangyari yun sa subject area mo or sa subject time mo. Ano yung gagawin? Ano po yung ginagawa ninyo bilang sa pag-respond ng mga ganong uri ng concerns? Ano po yung ginagawa natin? Once merong nangyari na ganito sa klase ko, as advisory ko, yung ginawa ko, I talk to both, ano muna, yung dalawang bata muna. So, of course, kailangan nating makuha yung sentiments ng both parties para naman ma-weigh natin kung sino ba talaga ang at fault. And then, of course, kung pwede na ma-fix yung issue doon pa lamang sa level ni advisor, we need to fix that na hindi na siya aakyat pa sa kung saan pang uri ng husgado sa ating paaralan. Ayan. So, meron po ba kayong ginagawang mga responding concerns if ever na mayroong mga issues na nangyayari? Ayan. So, I think wala na yung ating mga participants. Nandito pa ba? Pwede po ano na lang. Pwede naman po bang pa-heart react para malaman ko na meron pa akong kausap dito. Ayan. Thank you so much, Ma'am Anami. Ayan. So, feeling ko kumakain na kayo. You are taking your dinner time already. So, okay, I will just move on to the different ways on how to respond the concern. Ito na yung kanina, nasabi natin na listen, record, report, refer, and protect. So, ano ito? Una, of course, yun nga, we need to stay calm, believe the different possibility, use open and non-leading prompts. So, para mga open-ended na mga questions, our main goal here is to let the different parties speak for themselves. Para makuha natin, mag-gather natin yung tamang information and then matagpi-tagpi natin kung ano ba talaga ang nangyari at ang nangyayari at ang maaaring mangyayari. After that one, we need to record, we need to write, document the necessary information, the who, what, when, where, the exact words that were being used, yung mga indicators, at saka yung actions taken. After that one, we need to report it. Inform the school head or the CPC, guidance office, the prefect of discipline na nakadepende sa ating school policy. Minsan, kapag yung issue ay nakarating sa division office or sa regional office, the guidance counselor is being tapped and they are required to submit a report about what happened. Lalo na ngayon that with the emergence of social media, konting away lamang ng mga learners, so they do this, ang tawag dyan, nagvi-video na sila, no? They take videos sa mga away nila, ng mga learners, and then after that, they post it in the social media, different social media accounts, and then in just a matter of minutes, marami na makakapanood, malawak na ang views, and most of the time, it will reach the regional office or the division office. So, kapag makarating na yan doon, they will contact the guidance counselor of the certain school and then magsasabit po talaga, marirequire po talaga na magsasubmit yan ng tinatawag natin na report. Now, after that one, kapag na-inform mo na yung school, anong next na gagawin natin? We need to refer. So, connect to the guidance office, health section, and lalo na kapag medyo meron mga physical injuries, so kailangan nating i-refer sa school clinic. And social welfare, if medyo nangangailangan ng um, service from the social welfare or authorities through the proper pathway. So, yun yung mga refers, no? Sila yung mga dapat nating puntahan kapag things will come to worse or mm, kapag necessary. Protect, reduce immediate risk, maintain confidentiality, and follow up the learning and well-being of our learner who are the victim and of course, pati na rin yung at fault. Kasi they have their own rights and as teachers, we need to develop the holistic, holistic development. We need to promote holistic development among our learners. So, yan. So, again, ito yung pinaka-importante talaga sa lahat. We need to protect our learners. So, we need to reduce immediate risk. Minsan, yung mga ginagawa is nagkakaroon ng parang promise, written promise among learners na walang retaliation na mangyayari. And then, tinatawag yung parents with the presence of the school principal para ma-assure talaga na walang wala ng second pa, lalo na kapag lalo na kapag yung scenario is like gang war, parang ganon. So, para hindi na mangyayari ulit yung ganong scenario. Ayan. So, listen, record or document, report it to the higher authorities, refer, and then protect. Most importantly, itong report talaga, huwag niyo pong hayaan na sa inyong level lang matatapos. I mean, kung kaya rin yung matapos sa level niyo, better. Pero kahit we need to also inform the school para na rin, kasi we don't know what might happen next. Yan. And how are we going to handle disclosures? So, ito yung mga helpful language na pwede natin gagawin, no? Lalo sa mga bata. Thank you for telling me about the situation, ganun-ganun. So, you are not in trouble. So, pero nagbibigay tayo ng assurance. So, I will get the help from people whose job is to keep learners safe. So, huwag ka mag-alala. Sabihin mo sa akin kung anong nangyari. Tutulungan kita para safety ka. Ayan. So, I cannot promise secrecy, but I will share only with those who need help. So, ito rin, very important na yung privacy ng ating learners. So, yan. Kasi lalo na may iba na medyo confidential yung mga issues ng ibang mga students or ng ibang mga learners. Ano yung mga dapat nating i-avoid? O tatanong, are you sure? Sigurado ka na yan talaga ang nangyari? Kasi kapag ganyan, parang wala kang tiwala sa bata. So, imbis na magsasabi siya sa'yo, magsishare siya ng kanyang mga sentiments, hindi na lang. Um, kasi nga, parang hindi ka naman naniniwala, teacher, bakit ko pa yan i-share sa'yo, di ba? So, or yung victim, ano yung tawag dito, yung victim blaming. So, why did you let it happen? Bakit mo hinayaan na ganunin kanila? Parang ganon. Or pressuring for details and repeated retelling it, ganon. So, hindi siya magandang way. And then confronting the alleged immediate person immediately. Bakit mo situntok? Ganon. So, posting, forwarding, or discussing case and detail. So, hindi rin maganda na merong issue pagkatapos magbibigay ka ng mga details doon sa mga tao na hindi naman dapat nakakaalam ng sitwasyon. So, we should avoid that one. Yun yung mga kailangan hindi natin gagawin at iwasan talaga natin na mangyari. Yan. Ano yung mga documentation essentials? So, kapag nagdo-document again na, di ba, sabi, merong report na gagawin. So, ano yung mga essentials na dapat nandoon sa documentation? Of course, number one, we need to discuss the facts only. Observable behavior. Ano yung exact na mga words na ginamit? Kailan nangyari? Saan nangyari? Second, immediate action. So, who was informed? Sino yung nakakaalam ng ganitong senaryo? Yan. Ano yung mga safety steps na pwedeng gagawin? Ano yung mga referrals made na ginawa mo? And third, confidential storage. So, dapat nakalagay siya sa restricted na access. Halimbawa, doon sa classroom mo, meron kang file. Dapat hindi yung ma-open lang from time to time ng ibang learners. Secured yung files and walang public chat screenshots. So, yan. So, hindi mo pwedeng i-post sa social media. And fourth naman, follow-up. So, ito yung isa sa mga mahalagang bagay na ginagawa ng isang teacher. Intervention plan. Ano yung attendance or learning support na ginagawa? And ano yung emotional check-in na gagawin ni teacher after na nang nangyari? So, we need to follow up our learners to see to it that they are still in good condition. So, ito yung mga case sample ng mga case study. Ayan, example ito. Ito, kailangan ko na po talaga ng inyong, tawag dito. I will need your, um, ano yan, responses in this matter. Example, online bullying in a class group. So, this could happen in your class. Ito yung scenario. A learner reports that classmates repeatedly post edited image and insulting comments about them in a class group chat. They have come absent and do not want their parent know it. So yan, a learner reports that yung mga classmates daw nila ay palaging nagpo-post ng kanyang edited na image and then meron pang mga masasakit na salita na sinasabi doon sa kanilang group chat. Ang nangyari, they have become absent and do not want their parent to know yet. So, ano yung immediate na safety steps na kailangan? Yan. Ano naman yung dapat natin na i-record? Ano naman yung or who should be informed first? And what support is needed this week? What should not be done? Ano yung hindi natin pwedeng gagawin? So, ayan. Yan yung ating first na scenario. Sige, yan yung case 1 natin. Siguro, mag-create tayo ng parang ano for this. Ano ba dito? Google Drive for this para naman you can answer the different case scenarios related dito and part siya ng pagbigay siguro ng ating certificates. Ayan. So, para meron kayong reflections, meron kayong output after this webinar. Now, ano yung mga possible na gagawin? So, step 1, so stop them from further harm. So, separate the online and offline interactions, ensure supervision. So, avoid, no, kailangan mag-implement si teacher ng tama or ng protocols on how to behave in an online environment. Second naman, save the evidence accurately or securely. Do not forward it to any other individuals na hindi naman makakatulong dito sa scenario na ito. We should report this to the CPC and follow the anti-bullying procedure. So, saan naman ito related? We can create this, yung mga nagawa mo dito, pwede mo siyang maging MOV na sa safe environment and stakeholder communication. So, yun yung mga pwede nating gagawin sa mga ganitong uri ng scenario. And we have this case number 2. We have the possible neglect or abuse. So ito, a learner has a frequent unexplained absences. So palagi siyang absent, palagi siyang pagod. And sabi niya, I am scared to go home when adults are angry. Natatakot na siyang umuwi sa kanilang bahay. So, ano yung pwede nating gagawin kapag meron tayong ganitong scenario na ma-meet during our class time? So, what non-leading follow-up can you ask? Anong mga pwede nating itanong sa bata kapag ganito yung scenario? What exact information should be documented? What is outside your role? Who should be involved? And yung fifth question, what immediate support can be provided? So yan, tingnan natin. So ang unang gagawin natin, possible kasi na kapag ganun yung scenario, mayroong possible na neglect or abuse sa bahay kapag ganun yung scenario. Palaging absent, hindi na motivated na pumasok sa paaralan yung bata, palaging pagod kasi baka mayroong pinapagawa. And then, sa plus, sasabihin pa niya na, I'm scared to go home when adults are angry. So, natatakot nang umuwi sa bahay. So, possible na mayroong abuse na nangyayari sa bahay. So, ano yung gagawin? Acknowledge and reassure without promising secrecy. Katulad ng sabi kanina, I can promise that I can completely or 100% not tell this to anybody, but I assure you na kung sino man ang pagsasabihan ko, makakatulong sila sa iyo, sa sitwasyon mo. So, yun yung assurance na ibibigay natin sa bata. Second, ask open prompts. So, avoid leading or investigative questioning. So, yung parang nagkukwentuhan lang kayo, kunwari friend kayo, and then just let the learner open up anything. Hayaan mo lang na mag-share lang siya sa'yo ng mga bagay. So, kasi darating talaga kayo sa point na madidig yung kung ano ba talaga ang nangyayari. And then you can gather the right information na pwede mo nang magamit para makatulong sa learner. And if ever na um, nakuha mo na yung tamang mga facts or details about the scenario, you can report that to the school head, the CPC, or refer for support as the policy requires or kung saan siya pwedeng i-refer. So, yun yung pwede nating gagawin. Next naman, we have this public shaming as discipline. Ayan. Example, a teacher posts the list of noisy and lazy learners in the class group chat. Napangalanan yung mga bata na noisy and lazy. One learner stops attending sessions and classmates begin teasing them. So, ang nangyari, na-post doon ang pangalan ng isang learner sa group chat, ngayon, hindi na nag-aaral yung bata kasi nga nahihiya na kasi ano na, parang binubuli na ng mga classmates. So, question number 1, which learner rights are at risk? Ano yung right ng learner na at risk? Question number 2, what PPS indicator is implicated? Question number 3, how can behavior be corrected without humiliation? So, this is very necessary. Tama ba yung ginawa ni teacher na nag-post siya ng list of names ng noisy and lazy learners? Tama po ba yun? 4, what support should be given? And question number 5, what ethical MOV can be kept? So yan yung mga guide questions natin. So let's try to check kung ano ba yung tamang gagawin natin bilang mga teachers. So kapag ganito yung scenario, ayan. First is we should restore dignity. Remove the harmful post, stop teasing, and then check on learner. We need to admit, diba, kailangan i-admit ni teacher na mayroon siyang pagkakamali na ginawa sa ginawang yun na pag-post ng mga names kasi nahihiya din yan. Step number 2, replace shame-based control with positive and non-violent discipline routine. So, pwedeng ilagay doon na these are the most behave and most industrious learner for the week. So yun. Step number 3, document factually and refer through coaching or CPC if needed. So yan yung mga pwedeng gagawin natin as teacher. So avoid giving negative na mga comments to our learners kasi affected din po ang mga yan and hindi natin alam kung ano yung mga um, pinagdadaanan nila sa bahay. Pwede kasi na yung ibang learners maingay sa paaralan kasi doon sa bahay merong mga problema. So, meron tayong ganong mga learners. And then when you dig deeper with their behavior, you can realize that maybe they are just seeking for attention or they are just tawag dito, parang ano lang din nila, one way para ma-distress sila sa mga nangyayari sa kanilang bahay. So, yun. We need to learn to know our learners better. Case number 4, learner with disability excluded from group work. So, ano kayang klaseng learner right issue ito? Diba? Na-discuss ito kanina. A learner with hearing difficulty is often assigned as observer only. During the group task, because classmates say explaining takes too long. So, parang nai-exclude na yung bata sa classroom activity. So, what barriers are present in here? So, how should the task be adjusted? How can peers be guided? What coordination is needed? Ano naman yung mga PPST-aligned MOVs or that may resolve? So, ito yung mga possible na mga questions natin for this type of scenario. So, ano yung gagawin kapag meron tayong learner with disability na hindi sinasali ng mga learners or ng mga classmates sa group activity? Una, we need to remove barriers through differentiated roles, visual interactions, and peer body support. So, pwede na bigyan siya ng ibang task or bigyan siya ng ibang responsibility. Second, step 2, teach inclusive collaboration norms and prevent the stigma. So, it can happen during the orientation na i- i-revisit yung classroom rules and regulation and then i-add natin yung ganitong mga type ng mga concerns na related sa mga students with na mayroong learner with disability and update our classroom rules para naman magkaroon tayo ng classroom that is inclusive or a classroom that promotes inclusivity. Step 3, coordinate with parents and guardians and also the support personnel. Yan, para aware yung ating mga parents and dapat dalawang dalawang parties ng parents and guardians. Hindi lamang doon sa bata na may learner with disability, kundi pati na rin doon sa bata na nang bubuli. Ayan. So we have, I think this is the last case or the last, yes, scenario. Possible child labor and chronic absenteeism. So a grade 8 learner is often absent on Mondays and says they work late at night in a family business. They are exhausted and failing assessment. So yun. Ano yung mga facts na kailangan nating i-gather? So we need to dig deeper kung totoo ba ang sinasabi ng bata. Paano mo magagawa? Just let them talk, discuss anything about their family, ganon. And question number 2, what immediate learning support is needed? Ano yung mga pwede nating gagawin as teachers para matulungan natin yung bata sa mga ganitong uri ng sitwasyon? Sino yung mga dapat natin i-inform? Of course, we have the parents and the guardian. What community referral may be appropriate? Ano yung pwedeng gagawin natin na community referral? How do we avoid shaming the family? So, paano kaya natin yan gagawin? So, Here are some suggestions that we can do. Document the attendance of the learner, exact na mga statement, ano yung mga fatigue indicators, and try to check also the performance of the learner. Second, provide catch-up support while escalating through CPC and guidance office. So, kung pwede na bigyan muna natin ng module, yan. That is one way to provide catch-up support. Third, coordinate sensitively with family and social welfare partners if risk is confirmed. Kapag yun nga talaga ang nangyari, we need to act naman in the most respectful manner para hindi rin mapahiya yung parents. Now, sixth, discriminatory teasing based on religion and culture. So, a learner is mocked for wearing cultural or religious attire. Peers say it is just a joke, but the learner avoids recitation and group work. So, yun, joke lang, pero affected na pala yung isang learner. So, paano natin ma-distinguish yung joke from harmful statement? Next naman, what classroom norm is needed to reteach? Next, how can the teacher respond without stigma? And fourth, what restorative follow-up is appropriate? Ayan. So ito, medyo sensitive ito na issue. So ano yung una nating gagawin? Name the behavior as harmful. So they need to stop it and reaffirm dignity. Revisit the classroom rules and regulation about bullying and about cultural sensitivity. Next, yun, reteach and or respect for culture, religion, language, and identity. Third naman, use restorative repair only when safe and not forced. So, seventh, itong ikapitong case natin, we have parent demands public disclosure. A parent messages the advisor demanding the name and punishment of a learner who allegedly bullied their child. The message is copied to a parent group chat. O parang mayroong ganitong scenario doon sa Teach You a Lesson. Yan. Now, ano yung mga dapat nating i-disclose? Tama ba na ibigay ang pangalan ng bata na allegedly bullied the child of the other parent? How can the parent be acknowledged? So, paano mo na naman sasabihin sa parent yung paano ka magre-respond doon sa request ng parent? Who handles official communication? How is confidentiality protected? And ano ang document na ating kailangan? So, yung gagawin natin is acknowledge concern, but do not disclose names, sanctions, or case details. So, yun. Pwede mo sabihin na, good afternoon, ma'am and sir. I understand that situation, what happened to your kid, like that and like that. And then give assurance na sa loob ng paaralan is na-address na siya properly. And move the conversation out of the group chat and refer to school head or the CPC. So, you can escalate that one. Document the parent communication and ano yung mga action taken about that said case. Next, ito, very common scenario. Screenshot of harmful content online. A learner privately sends the teacher a screenshot of a classmate being threatened online. The screen contains sensitive personal information. So, how should the evidence be preserved? Ano ang gagawin ni teacher para ma-preserve yung evidence? Ano yung hindi na dapat ifo-forward kahit na saang channel? What safety check is needed? Which pathway receives the report? And how do we protect privacy? So, yan yung mga questions na kailangan nating ma-answer kapag nasa ganito tayong mga situation. So, yung gagawin po natin, i-preserve natin yung evidence, huwag i-repost, huwag i-forward, or better do not discuss that in the group chats kasi hindi natin alam Baka merong isang member ng group chat um, na mag-leak ng information. Check immediate safety and report through school head or the CPC. Limit access to authorized personnel only and document action taken. So kung maobserbahan po ninyo, malaki talaga yung role ng document, ng tamang reporting, pag-document properly ng mga sitwasyon na related dito sa, oh no, wait, na related sa learners' right and protection. So now, part 6, I think this is the last part, how we're going to build a safer school system. So yan, para sa mga school admin natin or those who are planning to be a school admin soon, this is for you. Ito yung mga prevention architecture, no, na pwedeng gagawin sa loob ng paaralan. What safe protocols put in place? Una, policies are visible. So, child protection policy, meron tayong anti-bullying, digital conduct reporting channel. So, visible po yan. Meron tayong school manual. It is being posted in the school premise para aware yung ating mga learners. Merong mga assigned individuals for the different um ano ba ito? Part of that for the different offices, the CPC, LRP focal, guidance designate, advisor roles, and student leader. So, ayan, meron tayong mga tao talaga na kapag hindi naman item, meron tayong coordinators for those said offices. Practice routine. So, merong mga homeroom sessions, classroom agreements, supervision, and of course, very important, parent orientation. And partnership ready. So, dapat kasali doon sa referral natin yung ating mga third party, no? Yung mga partners natin, katulad ng LGU, the DSWD, the PNP, NGOs, BLGU, community leaders, the health department also. And then we need to show proof that the scenario is being monitored. As paano? Incident trends, attendance flags, intervention plans, and functionality assessment. And last, participation enabled. So, merong mga forum for the learners, safe reporting, kapag merong mga pwede nilang i-report doon sa guidance o sa prefect of discipline yung kanilang mga sitwasyon, peer support, and the SSLG environment. So, yan. Yan yung mga pwedeng gagawin ng school. O yan yung prevention architecture. So, quick audit. Ayan. School protection, child protection quick audit. Ayan. You check kapag this is visible in your school. CPC members and roles are posted and known by teachers. Meron po ba doong nakapost ng mga CPC members sa inyong paaralan? You check kapag meron. Learners know at least 2 safe adults and reporting channels. So, meron bang alam yung mga learners natin na pwede lang pagsumbungan in case na mayroong mangyari? There is an anti-bullying and digital conduct norms and are taught explicitly. So, meron bang orientation about this one sa paaralan? Incident report, intake, referral forms are accessible and secure. Meron ba tayong forms for this one na kapag example, merong mga gustong i-report yung mga learners na mga violation against their rights or against others, pwede silang mag-submit ng ganitong mga incident report. Guidance and intervention plans are monitored, not one-off. So, hindi lamang siya um, after na nangyari, na-resolve, hindi lamang doon nag-end. Kundi dapat merong mga intervention plan, merong mga check-ins na gagawin, and then na-monitor ni guidance office yung status ng learner. Quarterly review of anonymized trends informs prevention activities. So yan, meron ba tayong ganito, yung ating paaralan? Kapag wala, I think it is time to revisit our CPC para naman po magkaroon tayo ng safe um safe na school para sa ating mga learners. So ito yung mga action plan na pwede po nating gagawin. Review the CPC rules and update referral directory. So dapat meron tayo nito. Conduct homeroom lesson on rights, reporting, and digital respect. So kapag masipag yung guidance office or yung taga-prefect of discipline, pwede silang mag room to room na mag-orient ng mga ganitong uri. No? Audit forms, confidentiality, storage, and case documentation process. Yan. And prepare ethical PPST-MOVs and hold faculty case simulation. So, pwede kayong gumawa ng mga ganong uri, no? Or yun yung mga gagawin yung action plans na pwede para sa inyo na teacher. So, yan, ito. I think we're about to end. But before we will end, I want you to read this one, and then after reading this, you type I commit in our chat box. As a teacher and duty bearer, I commit to uphold every learner's dignity, safety, participation, and the right to quality education. I will act promptly, document responsibly, protect confidentiality, align my practice with PPST, and work with school system to prevent and respond to harm. So kapag kayo po ay kindly write or kindly chat the word I commit in our chat box if you commit in this type of pledge. O yan. Parang pledge of loyalty bilang mga teachers. So yun. Palagay naman po ng I commit sa ating chat box para makapag-end na tayo. Yan. So ako I commit. Ilalagay ko dyan. Yan. Thank you so much, moms. Ayan. So, yun na. Meron na tayong mga nag-I commit. So, thank you so much kasi nakapag-commit na tayo doon sa ating professional commitment pledge. And hopefully, after this webinar, we can be able to practice yung mga natutunan natin dito sa ating webinar. So, yun, kahit nasa simpleng bagay lang na ma-practice natin, I know that we cannot 100% practice everything that we learn from today, pero at least kahit na doon lang sa proper na pag-report or proper documentation magagawa po natin. And also doon din um, sa pagbigay ng assurance na matutulungan natin yung ating mga learners is magagawa po natin. Ayan. So, ito yung mga legal basis po natin sa ating webinar for today. And this is an example of referral directory for our school na pwede pong magagamit. So, yung mga iba't ibang role, sino yung tao na in charge, yung contact information, kailan sila tatawagan, and then yung backup or sino yung pwede pa na tatawagan in case na mayroong mga ganong mga scenarios na pwedeng mangyari. So, you can create this and then post this directory in the school premise para kapag mayroong mga mangyayari, aware po yung ating office for the child protection policy. Ayan, so I think that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for listening and for being with me in this webinar series. Salamat ng marami, Louis Pipe. Back to you.
Okay, so ayan, napaka-insightful ng ating discussion tonight, no? Especially pagdating sa learners' rights and child protection. So may mga basis, no? Republic Act meron talagang batas na para sa kanilang karapatan, pati sa kanilang protection. Lalong-lalo na nga ngayon, as mentioned earlier by Mentor, na meron na tayong tinatawag na digital access, no? Kumbaga, it's now easy for every one of us na makakonect sa internet. Kasi may na rin sa technology. Kaya bullying, discrimination can also be done digitally na din. So that's why we need to really identify, protect, no, yung ating mga learners. And of course, the school must always adopt, create policies, no, system para mas madagdagan yung protection ng kanilang mga learners. So with that, you can now actually ask questions. Kung meron kayong mga gustong itanong sa ating mentor habang nandito pa siya ngayon, no, live sa ating webinar, now is the right time for you to ask questions or maybe clarifications sa mga na-share niyang insights earlier. Or baka meron kayong gustong idagdag, pwede na nating i-share, no, sa portion ng ating webinar na to. So you can make use of the chat box if you have questions, kung ayaw niyong magsalita, no, using the microphone. Yung mga nasa Facebook Live naman, you can make use of the comment section. Tapos, i-relay na lang namin kay mentor, no? Kung meron kayong gusto ding itanong or i-clarify or i-share. So, while waiting sa mga questions, sa mga possible questions to be asked, now is also the time for you para sa ating attendance. So, pwede ninyong gamitin ang QR code na nasa screen ninyo ngayon if you are using your phone. Tapos minsan kasi meron yang magkaroon ng glitches, magpalpak, no, hindi nagfa-function ang QR code kapag i-scan na siya. So I actually chatted here as well sa chat box yung link ng attendance sheet natin for tonight. So pwede ninyong gamitin yung QR or the link na nasa chat box ngayon. Okay, so while you are also doing the attendance and while we are also waiting for some questions, let me have the remaining time to invite you to our remaining webinars for the month of June. Originally, kung nakikita niyo sa schedule, no, last week kasi dapat talaga itong Education 107. It was just rescheduled today. So kaya i-disregard na lang ninyo yung, since tapos na din naman siya, no, yung Education 107. Isa din sa mga na-move pala na schedule yung last week due to earthquake din kasi, no, yung Financial Management 104. Dapat nung June 11 siya, pero na-move siya this coming June 23, so next Tuesday. So if you want to learn about retirement planning and retirement management, kung gusto ninyong planuhin, no, as early as now, yung golden year ninyo, so you can actually participate on the financial management na webinar. Tapos this coming Friday, we have Professional Development 106. This is building a growth mindset for personal and professional development. 7 p.m. lang siya mag-start, no? Kasi the mentor is working. Tapos kung 6 p.m. kasi baka mag-alanganin daw siya na makarating sa kanyang bahay. Kaya the time is special, no? 7 to 9 p.m. And then, meron pa tayong mga other webinars that you might be interested to participate as well. So, all you need to do is just to visit. Pwede nyong screenshot, picturean ba, no? Or you can visit the link na nakalagay dyan sa baba. You can also bookmark that link kasi yan naman yung link na ginagamit namin every time that we are updating our schedule, no, yung mga upcoming learning events namin. Okay, so wala naman tayong questions din here, no? So this will be my final set of instructions. This will be in regards to your certificate for tonight. So bale, ang certificate ninyo, you will receive that one tomorrow pa. So yung aming working hours dito sa Scale Up, 1 p.m. pa magsisimula. So sa hapon pa, 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Kaya during that specific time frame, hintayin nyo na lang na ma-email namin yung certificate ninyo. So between 1 in the afternoon hanggang 10 o'clock in the evening. No? Kasi yung pinaprocess kasi namin ngayon na certificates, yung webinar yesterday, no? June 16, yung Operations Management 110. Okay, so again that's I hope that's clear para walang may mag-follow up, no, through chat or through email in regards to their certificate for education 107. So again, we are going to email your certificate sa email address na ginamit ninyo sa registration form tomorrow pa from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. So kung hindi nyo siya na-receive ng by 10 p.m., so yan, you can actually follow up na your certificate. So that's it, everyone. Since wala naman tayong questions, maraming salamat, of course, no, sa ating mentor, si Mentor Faith, no, for investing, no, your June 17 with Scale Up Training and Development. So despite na, of course, busy siya, no, sa mga school activities, especially nag face-to-face na raw sila kanina. Kanina officially nag face-to-face kaya medyo busy, but kanina kahapon, sorry, no, kahapon ba? Monday or Wednesday kasi ngayon. Tapos pero nabigyan pa rin tayo ng time, no, tonight. Kaya thank you very much, Mentor Faith, and I hope na you will still say yes, no, to Scale Up Training, to future education-related webinars. And syempre, yung sa ating mga participants, maraming salamat for investing also your time tonight para sa learning activity natin. And we are also hoping na you will still join our future webinars. So, to keep to regularly receive, no, notification updates sa aming mga activities, I am highly encouraging you, kung sakaling hindi pa, na mag-follow sa aming official Facebook page, Scale Up Training and Development. The same din yung pangalan sa aming other social media accounts like Instagram, LinkedIn, at saka YouTube. Pwede rin kayong mag-follow and subscribe para again, makaka-receive kayo always ng notification every time na meron kaming mga bagong pinopost or ina-update. So that's it for tonight. Maraming salamat again. Keep safe always, everyone. God bless you all. And always remember, we are your Scale Up partner. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Mentor Faith. Keep safe always, everyone.